This is the brand new Mondraker ARID gravel bike. It's a full carbon fibre frame and fork combo, and there are 4 models in the range and there's 5 sizes to choose from. Now these bikes are suitable for everyone that might be starting their gravel adventure, or they want to do bike packing and overnight stuff with all the luggage, all the way through to the top model, which is heavily inspired by the world of gravel racing. Now I can feel you a little bit thinking, why is Mondraker suddenly getting involved with gravel bikes? But the truth is, we've actually been involved with this since 2020. So our headquarters is based in Elche in Spain, and that's smack bang in the middle of gravel territory in southern Spain. And loads of our staff ride, race, compete in events, all that sort of stuff. So they've been speaking to our design team, who went out in 2020 and did a bunch of events. They did this, some of them on the F podium, some on the podium, and some of them on a prototype gravel frame that we made. Now this early frame had our take on gravel geometry, and it was made from titanium. But that early frame made way back then in 2020 is so close to where we are today with these models. The thing was, at the time we decided it wasn't quite where we were. And moving on, we released the Doddy, which of course that came out in 2023, and that's our e-gravel bike. But universally since then, an analog version is what everyone has been asking us for. So this is it. Let's have a closer look. So let's have a look at the frame, which is identical on all 4 models. This one is the RR SL, and I've got this one because the other one has bags on it, so it's easy for you to see the frame. Now, firstly, it's made from our Stealth Air Carbon. Now, something I really want to underline here about this bike is it takes everything that we have learned from all the carbon mountain bikes that we've been developing since 2014. And one of those is called the Podium. So that bike is a World Cup spec cross-country race bike. It's a hardtail, and currently it's the lightest mass-produced hardtail frame that you can buy at 775 grams. Super light. Now we've taken everything we learned from that and put it into this, using what we've learned from our Doddy. Now the Doddy does share the same outline as this, but this is a completely new frame, and I couldn't tell you how different it is. So starting with the wall thickness of the carbon, and that varies constantly through the frame to tune the ride quality from 0.9 millimeters to 3.5 millimeters. So it's massively different everywhere on the bike. And the aim of this is to provide an unprecedented amount of compliance in the frame, especially right here in this bridge section. It could almost feel like it has suspension. It's unbelievable. You've got to try this thing on like washboards and the rough tracks out there to really understand this bike. It's also why we've chosen to have the bike with a rigid fork and a regular seat post. We want to show that this bike can be like a pedigree gravel bike. It can be raced at race spec, and it can be built with everything you need for adventure. Of course, it can accept a suspension fork and a dropper post on there, but we wanted this bike to be very pure in its intentions. And to highlight the durability of the frame, I need to tell you about how we test this thing. So all of our carbon fiber bikes are tested to ISO standard plus 20%. This is exactly the same. So this is tested to the same as you will see on our mountain bike range. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the frame features on here. Now, firstly, you're going to notice that it has a storage box built into the down tube here, and the bike comes with storage pockets big enough to fit CO2 cartridges, mini pumps, all the things that you would need on a ride. Internally on the frame, we have our hidden housing guide for internal cable routing, although this model, the only cable actually running through is the rear brake hose, because this one has electronic transmission on here. The bottom bracket is a T47 threaded bottom bracket, and the bike has been designed specifically to be a 1x. Now, we knew all about the 13-speed SRAM transmission when we were developing the frame, and to us it seemed like common sense. Coming from the mountain bike background, we completely believe in 1x. And now with the 13-speed, you can have the equal spread through the gears. It's just a logical progression for gravel bikes. The bike features UDH compatibility at the back end there, and of course it has quite radical geometry. Now, bearing in mind that our geometry on all of our bikes is quite forward thinking, but it's not just about having the longest bike or the slackest bike, it's about the overall balance. So on here you have a 70-degree head angle, a 74-degree seat angle, 425mm chainstays, and you have a minus 75mm bottom bracket drop, which is 289mm off the deck. That is based entirely around these tyres. So the geometry is what's universally worked in our prototyping and our testing, and it's designed to house the modern day tyres and wheels. So the frame has clearance for up to a 50C tyre. But these wheels here with the 45 on right now, I think are the cutting edge of where the gravel racing tech is. You probably noticed this has the deep section wheels on here. We'll talk a bit about the spec when we look at two models shortly. But this one, as you can see, super aggressive looking, complete race bike. And over those 4 models, there are 5 sizes available. So we now offer a small, a medium large, large, and an extra large. Now I'm sure you're going to want to know some of those numbers as well. So the head tube length from the small is 100mm, all the way up to 200mm on the extra large. The stack across there is 548mm all the way up to 642mm. You should see some more numbers on the screen. And the reach on these bikes ranges from 363mm up to 446. Now the last thing to reference on here is the amount of mounts available to you on this bike. You've got a top tube mounts, you have bottle cage mounts in the front triangle, and you have mounts on the forks to use. The bike is also compatible with mudguards front and rear, so a really versatile bike. Now as I explained, there's 4 different models. I have 2 of them here. Let's have a quick look at the specs. So as I referenced, we have 4 models available in the range, topping out at the flagship to my left, which we'll get to in a minute, and the gateway bike. So this one is called the Arid Carbon. It's flame red, earth red, and black, and I just think this looks absolutely incredible, especially with the bags that we've put on here, just to show you what this can look like if you want to go for an adventure ride. Now this bike is based around a 12-speed Shimano GRX RX 610 transmission, super reliable. It's just going to keep on trucking. It's got a Shimano disc brakes on there and Mavic all-road wheels. Now the wheels have a 24 spoke pattern on the front, 28 on the rear just to help them with a bit more load taking, and they have a 25mm internal rim width there for good support on the 45C tyres that are on there. And the last thing to say, without pedals and without these bags on here, it's a 9.6 kilo bike. And in euros, it's 3,199. So this is a really great price to get you into the world of gravel. And topping the range out, we have the RRSL model here. Now this one looks staggering, I think, in the midnight blue, the denim blue, and the bunker grey colour on here. It looks super racy, especially accentuated by the transmission and the wheels on here. So this has the brand new SRAM Red Explorer Access drivetrain, 13 speed. Now the cassette itself, that thing weighs 288 grams. It's mind-blowing what you can do with this thing and just how low the weight is considering. So you still get that 460% gear range on there as well. Staggering. So the cranks on here have the dual power meters on there, so you get independent readings for the power on both legs. Unbelievable. And then of course you have the shifters there with the little hidden blips on the top there on the hoods, so you can change gear whatever you're doing, whatever you're attacking. Seriously powerful brakes. And as you probably noticed, the brand new Zip wheels. So these are the Zip 303 Explorers, and they've got a massive 54mm depth to those. But it's not just the depth to the wheels that makes them so independent and so different. It's the width of the things. So when you look at these in profile, they have a 32mm internal width and a 40mm external. So just to put that into perspective, if you were to look at the Mavic D-Max wheels that we use on some of our downhill bikes, they're only 30mm internal to support those. This has been done for 2 specific reasons, and it's totally unique to Zip. The first one is to enable them to be aerodynamic with larger volume tyres. If you're putting a large volume tyre on a slim rim, it's going to stick out. The other thing you're going to get with that is it's not going to give the tyre the correct support at lower pressures. A lower pressure tyre with a compliant frame is the key for gravel bikes. And these tyres are designed to be run under 30 PSI. You have full compliant wheels here, 24 spokes front and rear, and just a mind-blowing ride in combination with the compliance that's offered on that frame. It also has the top of the range S9 carbon fibre bar with the same 440mm width on the smaller medium sizes and the 460mm on the bigger sizes there. That's a weapon. And as a reference, they're not built to be the lightest. These are supposed to be strong, resilient and compliant. But this one still weighs 8 kilograms. Okay, and finally, you might be wondering, who are they for and why have we made gravel bikes? So as I explained to you, a lot of the team at Mondraker have been riding gravel bikes since, well, way back, but we started looking at them since 2020. And what we've noticed is the huge surge in people interested in coming into the off-road environment. These bikes are perfect for mountain bikers that want to venture into the gravel world. And they're even more perfect for road riders that want to get into the off-road world. Now, our bikes can be built up for everything from adventure riding, overnight bike packing, racing, as you can see at the top here, or even just commuting. We make the 4 different models here. They're highly resilient frames, they're super lightweight, and they take all of the tech that we have learned from our carbon fibre mountain bikes. And I think there's a bike there for everyone. I'd love to know what you think of them, and would you go more on the race side or would you go more on the adventure side? Let us know what you think in the comments, and please do check out the other launch video where you can see both of these bikes in action. Again, thanks for watching. See you in another video soon. Take care.